it's me, Zombie, and I'm making a Star-Lord costume from Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. I decided to tackle one of the more complicated pieces first, the Jetpack Rig. This jetpack certainly isn't required in a Guardians of the Galaxy cosplay, but man, is it fun to make. Plus, when asked the question, jetpack or no jetpack, who's gonna say no jetpack? I mean, come on. In the last video, I made the front of the chest piece of the Jetpack Rig. If you're interested in seeing how I made it, I'll leave a link for that right down below in the description box. But now onto the meat and potatoes, the actual jetpack part of the jetpack. Finding reference photos for the jetpack was nearly impossible. I decided to reach out on Twitter and ask if anyone else had any. I'm so grateful for how sharing and kind the maker community is because you guys delivered! Thanks to you, I have this photo of Zoe Saldana wearing the jetpack. I still have to interpret some pieces, but this cuts the guesswork down by so much. Before putting any part of this together, I wanted to find something that would be a great shape for my jetpack tubes. I went to the store and found these huge bottles of 3-in-1 soap. I was pretty happy with this find and they only ended up costing me about $3 a piece. After I got them home, I had to wash all of the soap out of them. I found myself squishing the bottles gently and running warm water through them to get all of that soapy, watermelon-y, smelling goopy goodness out of them. I made sure to run hot water down my drain during this process so it wouldn't clog up my pipes. Next, I made a template by folding a piece of paper in half and sketching a half oval shape onto it. Then I transferred my pattern onto my soap bottle with Sharpie. Now that I have a pattern traced onto my bottle, it's time to cut it out with a bandsaw. Just a warning, not all of the soap made it out of my bottles. So when I used a bandsaw on these, it was an explosion of suds. So be careful and wear proper safety gear. After cutting out my half oval shapes on the bandsaw, I cut off the bottom and tops of the bottles so they would look more like the jetpack tubes I'm going for. If you don't have a bandsaw, then don't worry, some sharp scissors or a utility knife will work great too. Moving on to more patterning, I measured a rectangle piece of paper around my jetpack tubes and then folded that piece of paper in half. This pattern is for the detailing that occurs on the bottom of the jetpack tubes. It's pretty much just a long piece with a bunch of holes in it. To keep my holes symmetrical, I'm drawing them in with a marker and then cutting them out with an X-Acto blade. Next up, I created a back piece that my tubes will be resting on. I folded a piece of paper in half and sketched out these basic shapes. After these two shapes were created, I just put them together using some contact cement. I created these little fin pieces that will be stuck on either side of the back piece. Since these parts are thicker than 1/2-inch EVA foam that I'm using, I'm going to be using contact cement to stick them together. This foam I'm using has a textured side because their intended use were to be floor mats, so gluing these pieces together helps me hide the texture. Contact cement is toxic, so make sure to wear a respirator. Also, I spilled a lot of mine on accident. Don't judge me! Might as well not let this go to waste though. I'll just use as much of it as I can since it's already on my table. When applying glue, I use a piece of scrap foam to smooth out the adhesive so it's spread out evenly. Even adhesive means a better seal and less noticeable seams. Next up, I made 8 of these little support pieces for my tubes. This will give my tubes a sturdy way to stick to my back piece. I glued them together in 2s, so I had a total of 2 sturdy support pieces for each tube. Once I attached my tubes to my back piece, I realized that the back needed to be more detached than the lower fin piece. I added some foam risers by gluing foam squares together and then placing them in between the bottom fin and the back piece. This allows the lower fin to sit closer to my body and lets the jetpack have a bit more bulk, just like the reference picture. Unfortunately, all of that was put together and I realized that the bottom part still wasn't accurate or long enough, so I tore it off again and made a new one. I used my rotary tool to start cleaning up some edges here and there to start making this piece look prettier. I got distracted when I realized that the side fins were now not proportional to the rest of the backpack. So away they go! I decided to create some new fins. I did it the same way as I did the old ones, but I just made them bigger. After I fit them onto the pack, I'm much happier with these fins than my last ones. In hindsight, I could have settled for smaller details and probably no one would have noticed, but I wanted this thing to be right, dang it. I want to know if you guys ever had to remake a big part of your costume, or any part of your costume. Let me know right down below in the comments. I love hearing about your building adventures. After attaching my new pieces, I continued adding on smaller details like the trim into millimeter foam. And there you have it, this jetpack still has a bit of detail work left to be done on it, and a bit of rotary tool work as well, but the basic construction is all done. I can't wait to get this thing attached to the front piece and then get it all painted up. If you enjoyed the video, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss the next one. I'm on all of your favorite social media websites, so feel free to show me what you've been working on. I love seeing what you guys create, it totally makes my day. Thanks y'all, and I'll see you next time. Bye!